Aloha everyone, it's Lady, your friendly neighborhood Hesher, and welcome to the Hesh Files, a place where I interview musicians about all of the strange and unusual things that they see out on the road. So strap on your best high tops, ease the seat back, and get ready to be a metaphorical fly on the wall, because we're going heshing. Aloha everyone, it's Lady, friendly neighborhood Hesher, and welcome back to the Hesh Files, a place for us to get weird and seek out some strange. Today's guest is none other than professional punk rocker and guitar tech extraordinaire, the one and only Remmington. Rem, why don't you give us an aloha and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Aloha. I've been in the touring/music world for quite literally my entire adult life. I think I started touring almost 12 years ago now.
Okay.
I'm in the middle of a bass overhaul. I have like 6 basses that I've been working on this week.
Fuck yeah.
And yeah, I'm injured as fuck. So I'm just kind of hanging out and doing what I can while I wait for that.
I get it. Well, tell us a little bit about the injury. How did that happen? What's going on, if you don't mind?
Yeah, no. So I was on tour last summer with Alanis Morissette, and I
Wow.
was responsible for 2 of her band musicians, like her main guitar player and her bass player. And on the final day of tour at the Kia Forum, I was lifting a case over my head, trying to get stuff packed up for storage, just to like go home and be done with the tour. And when I lifted it, it didn't even seem that heavy, but my wrist popped. And come to find out, I tore 3 ligaments. So I've just kind of been going through the motions with like workers' comp insurance and going to doctors and getting it checked out. I just started physical therapy yesterday.
Okay.
And so we're at a point now where if physical therapy does not work, because there's a chance it won't, then basically at the end of December, I will be scheduled for surgery, because we're at that point now. It has been long enough and I'm not healed. And these injuries seemed like they should have healed themselves, and they have not yet. So that was literally my update as of yesterday. So
fuck. Well, God bless the American medical system.
Yeah, fucking right.
Yeah, geez, I don't even want to get into what having insurance might look like for somebody that's on the road all of the time.
I actually don't have real insurance. Yeah, I don't have real insurance. I might get it next year, depending on, honestly, it comes down to if I can work or not and how much I'm working next year as far as whether I get insurance or not. But fortunately, Alanis obviously is a big enough entity. There's like a company that oversees the entire thing. So I was able to get into workers' comp, like they had coverage and all that. So they're taking care of me.
Great. I mean,
yeah, so that's not a me thing. That was a company thing.
Okay. Well, I mean, that definitely makes it a little bit easier. But
Yeah, for sure.
let's just cycle back here. I mean, there's kind of a lot there that you said that was kind of fucking awesome. You've been teching for Alanis Morissette. Yeah, that's pretty fucking cool. I mean, the 90s kid in me is just loving that. I mean, what kid, around our age, even a little bit older, like didn't grow up relentlessly hearing Alanis Morissette on the radio. Not to mention,
yeah, no matter where you went, there she was. So.
But not to mention, she was God in Dogma.
She was literally God, yeah.
It was literally
she was the God for all of us growing up in the counterculture. So, yeah, literally.
So, wow. So you're literally touring with God?
Yeah.
What the fuck is that like?
Busy as hell, man. So I unfortunately do not get to hang out with her very much at all. When I was on the road with them, I mean, I was personally responsible for 2 musicians on stage. Just that alone meant I had 16 guitars. Plus I had their entire rigs and everything. So basically the second I walked on stage in the morning, I didn't really leave until the show was done. Like I was pretty much busy all day, every day, just on stage, like restringing and setting shit up and just, making sure the show could go on. So
yeah, I mean, that's a long day, but I mean, clearly if it wasn't for people like you, there wouldn't be a show like that to go on.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think from the bottom of my heart and probably everyone else, we appreciate you. I mean,
we don't get a lot of recognition, so hell yeah, I'll take the appreciation where I can.
Yeah, well, you're getting it here. So I mean, other than teching for Alanis Morissette, I mean, I know that you've been touring with L7 this year, but also the Venomous Pinks.
Yeah, so those are my 3 main bands right now. Those are, and kind of funny, isn't it ironic? I work for like primarily women.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Great.
so 2 out of my 3 bands are literally all women, and then my third band is led by a woman, and we have a lot of women on our team. So it's like kind of a neat world that I found myself in, because I've been in primarily the punk rock scene for my entire life, and so
which is predominantly
suddenly
male.
Not being surrounded by just 100% dudes all the time is kind of nice.
So I guess that
Sorry,
leads
but
no, I get it. So I mean, so I guess then what makes it different about touring with predominantly women versus predominantly men?
I've actually had the really good fortune that majority of the men who I have toured with are extremely respectful, and I would put them in a category of not the same as like majority of men that I've encountered in my life.
Okay.
However, it is nice just having kind of, that feminine energy around you all the time, and being with women who, we are a little bit more understanding about things, at least to each other. And all of us know what being in this world is like. Just being in the entire music scene in general as a woman is complicated, to put it lightly. We're at least from my perspective, kind of what I've dealt with is being, either micromanaged or just completely doubted in the first place. It takes a lot more steps for me to be trusted by somebody who's trying to either hire me or work with me in some capacity.
Okay.
I mean, I've been doing this for over a decade now, and there's still people who think I'm new to this world.
Yikes.
And flip side of the coin, there was people I was on tour with this summer on a stage and on a show of that caliber who that was literally their first tour. They had never done that before.
Wow.
And so there's something to be said about the genres in general. I think it's kind of funny, but like the DIY and like the punk rock tours are a lot more organized in the sense that you have to be, because there's a lack of resources. So everybody, you kind of have to know your shit to be there, and you have to know what you're doing so that you don't waste time and energy.
Or money.
Not to say that, these people, yeah, exactly. Not to say that these people on the Alanis tour were wasting time and energy. They definitely knew what they were doing, but I think there's a level of trust that can be extended in those situations that isn't extended at lower levels where there isn't that much money to go around. You can't spend time or money fixing mistakes in those tiers.
Yeah, you just gotta
that's kind of, just my 2 cents on the matter. But especially a lot of the women that I worked with this summer, it goes back into that understanding where we all have had to cut our teeth, and we have had to prove ourselves time and time and time again, just to be in those positions, in those spaces in the first place. And, they're all badass and they're super sweet, and it's rad to be in an environment like that and not be the odd man out the entire time.
Yeah, no, that's incredible. I mean, I honestly, I can't even imagine. That sounds perfect.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was great. And then of course, just the tour itself, we had Joan Jett, who had like a bunch of women in her camp. And then we had Morgan Wade, who had women in her camp. And it was just like, I mean, the entire tour package, like, I don't know, there was a lot of women all the way throughout it. And it made an impact on me. I mean, it was really cool to see. So
well, that's incredible. I love it. I mean, I can't believe that, we went from Alanis Morissette to Joan Jett. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, so I mean, when you are touring, with bands as, a guitarist or a tech, what do you like better?
Ooh, I mean, there's nothing like being on stage, and I definitely miss it. However, I think over the last several years, I've kind of learned what I enjoy about it a little bit more. For the first part of my career, it was just kind of like, I don't give a shit. I'll be on stage with anybody who wants me. And I was fortunate enough to play in stuff that I, either didn't hate or like I had a good time in everything I was doing. And it was, they were cool bands. Except I got to a point where what I was doing was no longer fun for me. And that was just like, I either didn't like, just in the sense I wasn't in a position where I was happy. Let's put it that way. And so therefore I kind of saw the weight of playing went down in my eyes a little bit, to where I have since been dedicated entirely to just teching and working and being behind the scenes in these kind of environments, because I enjoy it, and running my own business here in this space, and being able to, work with my hands has always been a thing. And so taking a step back from playing shows that I didn't like being a part of has elevated teching and being in a different environment. And so I think if I returned to some form of playing, and I think primarily what I want is, to not join a band. I kind of want to start a band. So something fledgling that I have I have just as much input and I'm able to create and do things that way.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that'll make a huge difference. And then from there, playing will probably take precedence again, and I'll be happier in that environment. But I definitely lost points, I guess, for playing, just being in situations that they weren't fulfilling and they weren't making me happy. So I guess you could kind of say I like them both equally. It just really depends on the circumstance and who I'm touring with, or, what I'm doing with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, that absolutely makes sense. Since you have been teching mostly, at least I was going to ask if you were working on anything new yourself these days. I mean, if there was, any new REM music being written that might be coming out.
That's the goal, ultimately. I have some ideas I've been kicking around, but I am not able to really play much right now. I kind of have a very small window on what I can use my wrist for at the moment. I kind of I have to take a lot of breaks, and just playing has not been possible for the last couple months.
Yeah.
A lot of ideas and a lot of lyrical ideas have been kicking around. However, I have really enjoyed just kind of taking a step back for the first time in my life.
Oh, sure.
I never had just time off or time to myself.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a workaholic, but yeah, I mean, the ideas are there, and ultimately I want to get back to it. The ideas, I mean, I've been flooded with ideas, and I've been flooded with, I might write a lick here or there. I might write a couple lyrics or string together some idea of a song. I haven't finished anything, mostly because I've been taking a break from finishing anything, but that is definitely on the horizon. I very much do want to return to playing. It's just all about, honestly, right now, it's all just about my healing is kind of where I'm stuck. So, I was just able to write with a pen like a week ago. So I'm only about that far at the moment.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, personally, I totally understand, the injury thing. I mean, you said, you couldn't use a pen until recently. I spent years after getting surgery where I couldn't bend over and tie my own shoes.
Yeah.
Most of my 20s, I literally couldn't tie my own fucking shoes anymore. And yeah, I mean, sometimes you just have to work on healing. And I mean, if you don't heal, oh fuck, you're going to have that forever.
Exactly. And that's what I'm scared of right now, is I'm trying to make sure that this does go away at some point.
Yeah.
that's honestly my main priority at the moment. But yeah, I would love to return to it. I really do miss playing. Every show I go to, I'm like, fuck.
Oh, I get it. Well, when you are on tour, then I guess even hypothetically, if you were going to go on tour tomorrow, who would you use as a tech? Who does the guitar tech use as a guitar tech? What do you do?
I'll probably be a neurotic asshole and not let anybody touch my shit and just do it all myself, if we're being honest. I mean, seriously, I've never had a tech before. I've never been in a situation, honestly, also because I do it. So I don't think it's ever even crossed my mind, who I would hire. I don't know if anybody wants to be my tech in the future. I'll throw this out to, I'll take job application.
Yeah, you know what? I will
show me your videos of fretwork, and then we'll talk about it.
I'll start a page on my website just for auditions for Remtechs.
Perfect. Remtechs. Awesome. Okay.
Well, Rem, so you've been touring in the scene for the last, decade plus or whatever. Is there a favorite tour that sticks out in your head, or a favorite band to tour with that sticks out in your head?
Ooh, okay. I mean, 2000. Yeah, I was in a particular band for I guess I technically still am. Right before the pandemic.
Okay.
So we did, we toured 6 months out of that year.
Damn.
And first of all, those guys are great. I think I can allude and everybody will know who I'm talking about. But we did a tour where we were with Direct Hit for part of it, and that was awesome because I was already a major Direct Hit fan. And so then being able to tour with them every single night was fantastic. That entire run was great, and that led to a lot of things that I did in the future as well. But, it was just 8 weeks, I want to say. It was something insanely long. And actually, that was where I met the Venomous Pinks for the first time, was on that tour. Our tours got sandwiched together, and or not our tours. We played there was a certain show where we kind of absorbed theirs on accident.
Okay.
The venue we were supposed to play burned down. So at the last minute, our promoter grabbed us another club in town, and it happened to be where the Venomous Pinks were supposed to play that night. And rather than completely erase their show, they just got added to our bill. So we just kind of absorbed the entire show.
Sweet.
But that was where where I think that's where I met Gabby the first time. And then, ultimately that led to almost 5 years later, they called me and hit me up to work with them. And they're absolute gems of humans. So they're one of my favorite bands to tour with. I mean, they're incredible and I've stuck around, obviously. So yeah, it was supposed to just be like a week run and things were rad. So here I still am working for them as much as I can. So
fuck yeah. Oh, that's great.
And then, I mean, I obviously have to throw in L7 as well. I mean, those ladies are just so much fun to tour with. We have a great time the entire time.
I can't even begin to imagine
and they're just
that.
legendary on top of it. So it's incredible.
Oh yeah, no big deal. Like they're awesome to tour with, but they're also fucking legendary at the same time.
I know.
Same thing with, touring for God.
Touring for God. Yeah, absolutely.
That's probably pretty awesome. So, I got to ask, because I know that you're vegan. What are some of the challenges with being vegan on tour? Because I only know tour from my standpoint of it, where it's just pure chaos and anarchy, and you're literally eating scraps off the floor if that's all that there is. So, I mean, if you have to eat vegan, I mean, how do you do that?
Yeah, it's been an adventure. So I didn't know why. Okay, so I have I actually have a stomach condition. I have an allergy to meat and dairy, which is what forced me into my diet.
Okay.
But I didn't know that until probably about 3, maybe 4 years ago now.
Oh, wow, that's recent.
Probably not even. Honestly, I think it was more recent than that.
Wow.
But I didn't know it was an allergy. And so I spent a really long time just trying to figure it out, but knowing that certain things hurt me. So that being the case, when I first started touring, 2013, I think was my first tour. I didn't have the option, but I also lived in Europe. So I don't know if that made things different, but
okay.
I did get sick eventually, but I ate mostly vegetarian while I was living in Europe. That was I lived in Europe for my first tour and didn't come home for a really long time.
Yeah, we're going to cycle back to that.
It was a requirement. Yeah. Yeah, that's a whole story in and of itself. But I ate meat during that time frame just because it was a necessity. I didn't have the option of choosing what I ate. And so majority of the time I didn't eat meat. I would eat something vegetarian. But when it really came down to it, if I had to, I would eat what was available, which there were a lot of instances of that. We were extremely DIY and we were extremely broke. And so we were literally just beholden to whatever anybody would feed us for free.
Sure.
Fast forward to all the way up to that tour in 2019. I mean, for the first half of that year, there weren't any options. I mean, I was struggling left and right to the point where I actually bought multiple bags of vegan meal replacement powder. And with half my luggage was just me lugging this powder around so that I could at least make this replacement shake.
Sure.
Because there was so much that I was just starving all the time.
Wow.
And the options have opened up a lot now. So fast food and stuff like that is extremely easy to get. And especially on some of these bigger tours that I'm doing, like Alanis, Morissette, for instance, we have full catering. Damn. So the catering wasn't great for vegans on this last tour. I think that was just an oversight that got lost somewhere, but the option is there. So we do have something to eat. There is full catering every single day. But yeah, I mean, it's been a struggle every single day. It's just kind of down to the point where, do I have to eat whatever chips I know are vegan for lunch? Do I have to figure it out? How close am I to a Taco Bell? Because that's the saving grace of every tour, pretty much. I mean, it got to the point where Jackson Bradford told me to get this tattoo at the end of one of our tours, and it just says "Remember to eat," because I literally wouldn't have an option. I would forget to eat lunch, and then by the end of the day, I'm accidentally a little too drunk because I forgot to eat that day or something. Yeah. So he was always reminding me before we went out, did you eat? Did you eat? And I was like, okay. So I at least had somebody looking out for me trying to find it, but I made it got easier over time, kind of as vegan options became more widespread. But yeah, it was definitely a pain in the ass for a while.
Well, I believe it, because I mean, I even know that in the last few years, I've seen a lot of vegan options popping up, here and there at fast food restaurants and stuff that never would have had them before.
Exactly.
So you mentioned Taco Bell being the saving grace of tour for vegans. I mean, why does Taco Bell stand out? Why is that the one?
It's the one because if you take the meat and the dairy out of their ingredients, so say for instance you order a burrito, just a bean and cheese burrito, but you remove the cheese, every single other item on Taco Bell's menu is vegan.
Really?
Everything. All the beans, the vegetables, everything. Yeah. So as long as you remove the cheese, the meat, and the sour cream, everything else is vegan on their menu. So, and then also they're extremely customizable. So you can go in and just like literally take a burrito that they have all those things in, remove all of it, and put in whatever the hell you want. And like, I mean, like, I think some of their sauces are, before I say everything's vegan and people take me at my word, there's some sauces and stuff you kind of have to look up and see, you know, one way or the other. But for the most part, all the major ingredients, like the rice, the beans, all of it. So.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I had no idea that Taco Bell was so vegan. I mean, well, that's rad.
They know it too. They're very open, and for a while, I don't know if they still do it, but they used to actually support touring bands. They would give you, you could go apply for them and be like, I'm a touring band or whatever, and get free or discounted food just being on the road. Yep. I don't know if they still do it. That was a while ago now, but
I'm gonna have to look that up because even if that isn't still relevant now, that's just a good piece of touring history. I mean,
yeah, there's a lot of restaurants that do that kind of stuff.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. There was a Illegal Pete's, which is kind of a staple through like Colorado specifically, but I think maybe Utah as well, if I remember correctly. But they would give free food if you were a touring musician. If you came through and had like a tour lamb in it, they would give you like a free burrito or something like that. Some free food item. So that was always a staple. We would go through Illegal Pete's all the time.
Wow.
Again, I don't know if they still do that. They might, but yeah, there's a lot of little perks like that, or especially like if you go to a museum or recording studio or something like that and you flash a tour lamb in it, a lot of times they'll either give you, or like if you give them like a free piece of merch or something like that, a lot of times they'll let you in and have to, like, I know Sun Studios in Memphis did that.
Hell yeah.
Tossed him a t-shirt, got in for a free tour of the record, the recording studio. There's like weird little things like that where there's a lot of people who support touring musicians, and I think it's really cool. We also get to see our history or get fed, and I think it's just important for making time on tour to see that kind of stuff is like, or like to go, kind of this weird camaraderie, like community that we have, and whether or not we're hanging out with other bands while we're on the road, we all know the same things, and so it's just kind of a cool piece of that to go do.
Yeah, like you just got to go experience some of those same things that everybody else experiences. I mean, it's a rite of passage kind of a thing.
Exactly. Absolutely. Yeah. And it's just something that really makes our community like a community in the sense that we're all doing the same things. We all know, you complain about a Waffle House or something like that, and everybody's like, oh yeah, no, I get it, or whatever. Like talking about how bad a Motel 6 is, and half of us have slept on the floor of a Motel 6 before, so everybody's like, yeah, they're fucking awful, or like whatever. There's an understanding that goes into this world that I think anybody who hasn't toured before, like, they don't see things the same way.
Exactly.
And so I don't know, it's such a cool communal experience that separates us, you know what I mean? So
right, totally. Because when you're absolutely right. When you're out on the road with your friends in a van or a bus or what have you, and you're just going from town to town, you experience the world and reality in a vastly different way than, the family that is driving from the suburbs to Disneyland or fucking whatever.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so different when you're in a van with your friends and you have no money, you have nowhere to actually go.
Yeah. That's the big one. Running out of places to hang out when you can't get into, load-ins not for another couple hours, and the hotel won't let you in yet. So you're just stuck sitting somewhere trying to find something to do. Yeah.
I remember there was one tour that I was on where it was that exact same situation where we just couldn't go anywhere for hours at a time. So we ended up posting up on different parking spots of 6th Street in Austin, Texas, where we would sit there and run out a parking meter, drive around until we found another one that had another few minutes, stay there until that one ran out, drive around to another one. And it was just anarchy. It was just chaos.
That's awesome. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Those are the days I like scheduling weird things. Like on the last Venomous Pinks tour we went on, we had a day where it was hours before we had to be anywhere. Mm-hmm. And so on the drive, we went to, I forget the name of it, but we went to this waterfall. Okay. We were in Oregon. So we went to a waterfall. And then after the waterfall.
Was it the Klamath Falls?
Ooh, I actually don't remember.
Because I have a weird personal thing with the Klamath Falls. That's a weird thing. So that's the only waterfall I know of in Oregon.
It's all good.
There's probably other ones, but fuck it. There's only one waterfall in Oregon. That's it.
No. So we did that, and that was really pretty. And we did the whole like nature walk and went all the way up to the top and took pictures on the bridge and, did the whole thing. And then we still had plenty of hours to kill. So we said, fuck it, and drove an additional, like, it was like another half an hour, 45 minutes, maybe even longer out, like into the middle of nowhere. And we went to a Sasquatch museum, like a
Hell
Bigfoot Sasquatch museum. And it was awesome. It was great.
That's
I almost
so
bought
rad.
everything in the store.
Well, yeah.
And like, it was just fucking stupid. We just had so much time to kill, and we were like, fuck it, what's cool here? And we're like, let's go do that. That's funny. And so we did. That was funny. We went and looked at this museum and bought a bunch of nonsense we didn't need, and then, drove to the actual show. So
fuck yeah. No, I mean, there was another tour I did where we did almost the exact same thing again, because we were in New Mexico and we just had, we had plenty of time to kill, and we found a UFO museum in Roswell and just spent the day walking around Roswell, New Mexico, which is one of the weirdest places in the world. Like, all alien shit aside, I mean, they've definitely built their whole tourism industry off of aliens. Everything in Roswell has an alien next to it. It's just such a weird place. And that's what you do on tour. You just go find weird fucking places.
Yeah, you grow up hearing about like the giant ball of twine or the world's largest truck stop or something weird like that. And on tour, that's the time where you're like, fuck it, let's actually go look at that shit. Because if you're on any other trip, you have a destination in mind. And so it's like, you don't have the time. You don't want to spend the time doing that weird shit. I mean, unless that's the point of your trip, but almost never does that happen. You always have a destination in mind that you're going to do something. But on tour, when you have time to kill and there's a bunch of you and you're probably young and probably hungover and you've had nothing but junk food all day long, someone's going to need to smoke or pee, so you get out and see that weird shit. Like, that's just how it goes, bonus points if there's a gas station attached to whatever the hell you're looking at. So
and extra bonus points if there's a liquor store.
Oh, exactly. There you go. Yeah, because the drink tickets only go so far, so you got to stock up yourself.
Exactly. So, I mean, I guess speaking of roadside attractions, do you have a favorite roadside attraction that sticks out in your head? I mean, is there one that you're just like, everyone needs to see this?
Oh yeah. It's ridiculous. I think it's either, where did I see it? In New Mexico or Nevada. I forget where we were in this tour. I want to say New Mexico.
Okay.
But you are driving down the highway and it is just like miles, and every so often, pretty regular, at least I'd say like once a mile at least, there's a billboard that's talking about, have you seen The Thing? The Thing is come, like, oh my God, it's The Thing. And it's just like billboard after billboard of what the fuck is The Thing. And so we finally were like, well, fuck it. Do we find out what The Thing is? Because we've been looking at this for like 50 miles.
Yeah.
And so we go. And we pull up at this gas station, super non-assuming, looks like a normal gas station. There's like kind of a bigger warehouse looking building behind it, but it looks pretty much normal. It's just like a regular shitty desert, middle of nowhere gas station.
Okay.
And so we go in there, and towards the back, there's just this like older dude standing at a counter, and there's like an ominous door next to him. Weird. And so it says like The Thing, and that's where The Thing is. And so we went and we all paid, and it was $5.85 because he charged us the tax for it. And one after another, we all went into this.
I'm just picturing the Gimp from Pulp Fiction coming out here.
No, it's like fucking, we go in, and apparently that door leads to whatever that warehouse fucking situation was.
Okay.
And it is life-size full statues of like aliens in combat with dinosaurs. Fucking huge. It is a massive warehouse of it. Some of them are riding, they're in spacesuits, there's guns, everything's neon. Like, it is insane. And it lasted, like, it was not short.
What?
Like, it lasted, it was a minute. Like, we walked through this warehouse like haunted house style. Fuck, we're going. At no point do I understand what The Thing is, but the entire thing was a conspiracy theory that the reason dinosaurs are gone is because aliens, I guess. I still am not sure. I'm not clear on the actual fucking story. But that was like literally after 50 miles or whatever the hell, that was ultimately where we ended up. And it was incredible. It was worth every penny of my $5.85.
Yeah, I would say that's great. Absolutely worth it.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And then I'm a sucker for a nature view, but compared to The Thing, I mean, that's
I mean, how do you top aliens and dinosaurs?
Life, dude, life, like the alien. I'm not a big person to start with. The alien was like, I mean, aliens, there was a lot of them. It was like probably minimum 6 foot, all of them.
Damn.
All however many there were in this room. And then there was dinosaurs that were even big. Oh my God, it was incredible. I was like, somebody spent time doing this. This is, and then it's just this poor old man out at maybe he did it. I don't know, but he's just out at the front taking our $5 bills being like, oh yeah, you got to check out this thing. And it's like, cool. Yeah.
So
I will spend an hour doing that. Absolutely.
I wonder how many people he's lured to their deaths at that place.
How nonchalant. I mean, he was pretty intense about the change, so who knows? But
damn.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just picturing
wild exhibit.
I'm picturing the old guy at the gas station from that movie, The Cabin in the Woods. If you've ever seen that movie, like that's what I'm picturing. This old guy's like, yeah, I'll take your $5. You're gonna die, but I'll take your $5 first.
Oh, I had a situation on the road once that freaked me out as bad as like those kind of moments in horror movies where they're like, well, you be careful out there. This was in West Virginia and it was fucked up.
That's a fucked up
I was already
anyway.
spooked. The whole driving through that state is scary to begin with. A lot of cornfields and just things that you assume are going wrong. But I was taking not a major highway. I forget where I was going, but I was driving and I remember just like a lot of cornfields surrounding me. It was like a 2-lane highway or like a 2-lane road, but it was like one each direction. So it was like literally only one, you know what I mean? Like not a major highway. And so stopped at the world's sketchiest gas station in the world because I'd just been driving for a while, needed to fill up. And I was like with one other person and we're driving. So we stopped there because we had to use the restroom and fill up and, get some snacks or whatever. And so while we're there, the dude at the counter, just big dude, wife beater, super country. Just like when you pictured, at least for us in California, when we picture West Virginia, this guy was that. That was, it fit to a T. Middle of nowhere, West Virginia, like from every horror movie in the world. Yeah, this guy. And so while we're leaving, finish paying, like whatever, we're leaving now. Normally they're like, all right, well, you girls have a good night, like whatever. Usually that would be how a normal person would react. And this guy just without missing a beat goes, you girls be careful out there.
Oh God.
And I was like, fuck, we're going to die. Like, I don't know where we're going, but we're dying tonight, obviously. Yeah. So then it was just like getting dark and it's just miles of cornfield. Fortunately, I did eventually hit a major highway, but it was just like the sketchiest moment of my life where I was like, that's it. I'm dying in a horror movie.
Yeah.
I've been obsessed with it my whole life and this is how I'm dying now. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, West Virginia, horrifying place to drive through.
Fuck yeah. That's absolutely horrifying. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, clearly you didn't die. You're here right now, so
I'm here to tell the tale. So it worked out, but yeah, horrifying.
Yeah, that's a plus. Fuck, damn. Everything else seems irrelevant now that life and death has been brought on the line.
Just a little flash of that. Hey, by the way, you're mortal. Remember that.
Yeah. By the way, you can all die on the road tomorrow by some old dude that has a warehouse of aliens and dinosaurs.
Also that, very possible.
Yeah. No big deal. It happens. Well, so earlier I asked you, your favorite band to tour with. Do you have a least favorite band to tour with? If you're allowed to say that without blacklisting yourself.
Least favorite band to tour with. Yeah. I don't think I can answer that one, but if anybody listening knows me, I think they'll know the answer.
All right. Leave it cryptic. I love it.
We'll put it that way. So if anybody listening knows me and we've had this conversation, you are correct.
Well, unrelated to that, back to being the guitar tech extraordinaire. What's your guitar tech horror story? What gives you the willies and haunts you and keeps you up at night as a guitar tech?
Oh, okay. Let's see. I guess I can tell one story with L7 because I was getting them ready to go, I think, to Australia, either Australia or South America, because this was last winter. I forget which one it was, but I was doing a bunch of pre-pro in my own shop, like getting them ready. I was working on Danita's guitar because she was having a feedback issue. And so I was attempting to basically reshield her guitar, try to add like tamp down on the noise a little bit. Her noise floor was very high. In the process of me doing that, I mean, I'm down to the wire. Like I have hours hours before I have to show up to the airport with all the gear because I was hired to do that, like bring all the gear for them, meet them, help them get checked in because of how much gear they would fly with. And then they went to Australia and I just left it up. That was for the Australian techs.
Okay.
But I was down to the wire. Like I literally like put the last screw in, put it in the case, and immediately ran out to jump in my car.
Damn.
So what I was doing seemed like a very basic repair. Like all I was doing was painting and so on and so forth. So I went to put things back in and I forget what it was. Something got messed up and it got stuck. Oh, I know what it was. So one of the wires in her guitar got messed up. And so what that meant was I had to pull a really hard bushing out of it and fix that and fix this one piece. And in the process, I didn't break, but I bent a piece of her hardware. So I had to replace that really fucking fast or fix the bend. And then while that happened, the ground wire I was actively working on at the time, which is supposed to just sit there, broke off in my hand. Shit. I was supposed to have this strung and be on the road already.
Oh no.
And the actual thing broke off in my hand.
Oh no.
And I'm just looking at it like freaking out. I'm calling, my other tech who I'm supposed to meet to help get this whole situation like sorted and all these things. And I'm just calling one of my other tech buddies on the phone being like, what the fuck do I do right now? All these things are wrong. Everything's broken. I'm freaking out. I have to be at the airport in like 2 hours. I had to get to Mid City, meet my buddy, and then go to the airport from there. And I have 2 hours to do it. And this thing just broke off in my hand. And so fortunately my friend like walked me through it. It was super sweet, but he was just like, chill. You know what you're doing. Just fucking calm down. And I was like, you fucking calm down. And I was getting mad. So I just took her wire and I said, fuck you. And fortunately I have everything. So I had a replacement and I just had to do the world's fastest solder job and like screw all this shit back together and like slap a setup on it. And then obviously, down tune in order to put it in a plane and throw it in the road case and get out. And I literally did it within seconds. Like I had no time to spare. I literally threw everything in my car and just booked it. And so I get to the airport and Danita knew that there were issues. And so while I'm we're getting everything sent through security and like put onto the belt and checking everything in. And she's just like, was that a lot? Are you stressed? And I was like sweating and I was just like, just like crying at her. And she's like, I'm sorry. And just like gave me a hug. And she's like, I'm sorry. It was so last minute. And I was like, fuck. And I'm like, it's all. And like, as soon as she did that, I was like, everything's cool. All right. Yeah. That's what I needed. I needed like, a little seal of approval from, incredible human being, but also my boss. So I was very much like, oh, fuck. And I was just like praying that nothing went wrong. I was like actively waiting. I was in contact with the tour manager, like, please tell me if anything goes wrong. And he's like, what would go wrong? And I'm like, nothing. You tell me. Well, it's like curious. Nothing if nothing happens, but like, and guitar, everything was fine. Everything's been fine since. So like, obviously I did the repair, but I was just absolutely sweating bullets. Just like, I just broke Danita Sparks' guitar seconds before she has to go on tour. Cool. I'm an asshole. And so I fixed it, but wow, that was like one of the most stressful situations I've ever been in.
Yeah, that's rough. That's fucking rough. Yeah.
But again, live to tell the tale. So
again, you're a survivor. Well, conversely then, what's your guitar tech wet dream?
Ooh. I love any situation. No, that's not true because I just told you one. I love soldering, but I don't love soldering under pressure. Let's put it that way. So any instance that I get to solder is just exciting for me. But as a guitar tech on the road, on stage, doing that sort of thing, honestly, just being able, like the moments where I can just enjoy the show and like just actually, I'm always watching, but like being able to watch without like fear of something going wrong or needing to fix anything, like those moments let me just, I only work with musicians that I like their music. That's kind of a caveat for me. I don't want to go do anything that I can't stand.
Fair.
But also at the same point, it's really nice to be able to enjoy a moment like that. And then also be able to sort of revel in the fact that like everything's under control. Like I did my work. Everything went off beautifully. My musicians are crushing it. I get to just sit back as a happy tech and go, yeah, we had a good day.
Fuck yeah. Yeah, like I mean,
that's my favorite. That's my favorite moment.
Yeah, you did your job. Everything is running as smoothly as it possibly can be. They're playing as best as they can be, and nothing's going wrong. Exactly. You just get to enjoy it.
Exactly. I get to just sit there and be like, this is cool, man. This is my life. This is my job. I still do pay for concerts sometimes, but in general, like people are paying for this. And it's like, I get to just be here and be in the mix of everything. And, kind of my mantra since I was a kid is, the show's the only thing that matters. Those moments are cool.
You know, it sounds incredible. I mean, I remember, I don't remember the name of the club that it was, but it was what, a year and a half ago or something. And it was, I think when you started taking for L7, and it was one of the club shows at Punk Rock Bowling. And I remember.
That was my second year with them. Actually, that was the Fremont Country Club.
Okay. Yeah, because I just remember seeing you back there and seeing some of the other people posting about you, the Crouching Tiger, Hidden Rem. That was just the funniest thing. You're just like hanging out back there, just watching everything. You're just crouched back, just making sure everything is going so smoothly, like the sensei or something back there.
Yeah, those girls like to keep me busy because they all play, they play the same way they've been playing since the 90s. Everything's fully cabled. There's no wireless. There's no tracks. There's no backups of any kind. It's literally just raw, straight in,
Hell yeah.
And so that being said, because they're so active on stage, I'm usually watching to make sure they don't tangle each other's cables.
Sure.
Because that has happened more than once. So usually I'm crouched down like that so I can run out and fix cables if I need to. Also, a lot of times, especially at the Fremont Country Club, there was nowhere for me to hide like a normal person. I had to crouch down like a goblin. But yeah, it's just they keep me busy, especially like Jennifer Finch will she's done it multiple times where she'll make eye contact with me and then just book it. And so I have to go out there and make sure she doesn't unplug herself or like get caught on something or like she'll do it. She's come to my side of the stage before and doing the opposite, and then she'll just tangle me up in her cable. Yeah, it's always, I never know what I'm getting with them. It's always fun. The shows are always incredible, and it's not the gear I have to worry about. It's them mainly. I just have to make sure they stay plugged in, and that's it.
I love it. I love it. Well, Rem, what's next up on your musical horizon?
Well, this Saturday, I am carefully working for L7. They're doing the Fast and Frightening Takeover at the Belasco.
Okay.
And it's their first year of this really cool festival looking thing. It's going to be like a whole day situation. So I'm coming out of healing hibernation to come help them with that.
Retirement?
No, I'm not retired yet, but I'm, on a, let's say short-term disability, but I'm going to poke my head out and go try to help them with that as much as I can. So I'll be there this weekend. And then after that, I'm just kind of working in my shop, what I need to do, or, if I have to prepare for surgery. And then next year I'm looking at, I haven't booked anything yet, but it looks like there's a couple tours on my horizon. So as long as I'm healed and as long as everything's good to go, I'll probably be on the road a lot next year.
Hell yeah. So, I mean, I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but again, I mean, what are you working on currently? I mean, you're working on healing yourself, but musically, I mean, are you learning anything in particular? I mean, are you trying to practice anything special to keep your chops up?
I've been doing a lot of like kind of long distance driving lately. So I've been working on vocals a little bit because I've kind of neglected that for a couple years now.
Yeah.
I mean, I technically play guitar every single day, no matter what I'm doing. I haven't really been focused on vocals in a really long time. So kind of on these long drives, I've just trying to work that muscle as much as possible. I mean, I was a singer for most of my life, and then I'm just out of shape. So I've been working on that a little bit just to try to occupy myself on a long drive while simultaneously, it's the one thing I can do right now. So
yeah, I get it. I mean, you don't really need your wrist to do that.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, so I know you're a guitar tech extraordinaire, but where or how can we listen to you? I mean, what can I plug here that people can go and listen to some Remmington?
Listen to some Remmington. I actually have the very rare misfortune that regardless of how much I've done in my life, there are not a lot of recordings of me. I have not done very many at all. I think in fact, I've only had really, I would say maybe 2 or 3 actual recording studio situations in my entire life, which I hate. I don't love that.
Sure.
But I have the tendency to join bands who stop doing stuff when I get involved. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of live footage of me on YouTube, whether it's Barbed Wire Doll, Sham 69, Bomb Pops, the other one that I shouldn't say out loud, allegedly. But yeah, I mean, so there's a lot of that. Also, you can, I mean, any searching you do of any of those bands, just to support them. I am not necessarily in most of the recordings. There are some things here and there, but they're hard to find. So,
well, I mean, as long as we got live stuff that we can look up and watch. I mean, I'm sure everybody likes that, but I mean, it it just sounds like 2025 might be the year of the Rem. It might be the time to finally get a Rem album out.
That's the goal. I would like to put one out into the world, at least one. Let's put it that way. I would like at least one. So yeah. My priority is a little bit different these days. I used to be extremely gung-ho, like I have to do this. Mm-hmm. And it almost created a pressure that almost made all my efforts kind of go backwards. It put so much stress on it that I couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
And now I think I've changed my perspective a little bit where, because I can't do it and I've had to take a break, it's not at the forefront of my mind anymore. It's not this major stressor that is occupying me and is oppressing me in any way, which I think is very helpful, because now I get to do it just because I want to. Now it's just fun for me.
Yeah.
And that's something I've been lacking for, I would say, a very long time, probably since the pandemic. I mean, music became something I had to do, right, as opposed to something I enjoyed doing. I think now I have brought myself back down to kind of my roots, in the sense where like I do this because I love it. I do this because I want to be involved. Same with teching. I want to be involved in the music scene. I want to be involved in touring. I love working with my hands and I love working on guitars. I love gear. So I am just trying to really get myself back to earth with that kind of stuff and why I'm here in the first place. And I think I'm there. I feel like I'm in a good spot that I haven't visited in a very long time. So
yeah, no, I mean,
I think good things are coming.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, on that note, how do we hire you to give our gear a proper setup? I mean, I know there's a lot of people that are going to be listening to this at some point, whether it's now or in the future, but we're going to need somebody like you, Rem, to literally put our shit back together for us, because we don't know how to do it. So
hey, anytime. My Instagram is the easiest way to schedule anything with me. Okay. It's just Remmington without the vowels. Yeah, I mean, I'll help anybody out. I'll do whatever I can. I'm open for work all the time. The only caveat to that is if I need surgery or whatever, I'll have to take another break. But yeah, until that happens, I'm here. So
fuck yeah. Well, Rem, that was got a loss right now. Rem, that was a hell of a ride. Thank you so much for sharing all your strange with us today and everything. I mean, that was
absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I mean, that was most educational. I mean, shit, we'll figure something out when it comes to vegan food on the road and getting our gear set up. We'll call Remmington.
Keep me in mind.
Yeah. Well, all right, everyone. Stay tuned for more strange and unusual tales from tour. Thanks for listening to the Hesh Files. Catch you on the flip side.
Cheers, all.